The true history of the lost city of Atlantis. Atlantis, an advanced civilization existing around 9600 BC, that sank beneath the ocean due to rising sea levels, taking its advanced technology and highly intelligent society with it. Or was it a real place that just got really run down over time? Let's dive into the myths and archaeological evidence to find out. It all started when an account of this mysterious island nation appeared in Plato's work. Timaeus and Creaeus, written around 360 BC. Plato described a powerful empire of a naval power situated in the Atlantic Ocean that had a powerful navy and was ruled by a benevolent king named Atlas. But due to the greed and corruption of its later rulers, the gods punished Atlantis by sinking it into the sea. For centuries, people believed that Atlantis was just a myth created by Plato to illustrate his philosophical points about ideal and corrupt governments. There was just one problem. Plato wasn't the only one who thought that Atlantis was a real place. In the centuries following Plato's writings, many philosophers, theologians, and even some rulers believed that Atlantis was real, including Emperor Hadrian, who commissioned an expedition to find the lost city. But there were no survivors to tell the tale of that voyage. It wasn't until the 1800s that the search for Atlantis began in earnest. And the leading theory among many historians is that Plato was actually describing a real place that had been swallowed by the sea, somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. But where exactly? To answer that question, we have to look at the physical evidence. One piece of evidence comes from the island of Santorini, which is now believed to be the lost city of Atlantis. In 1866, an Italian archaeologist discovered the ruins of a large settlement on the island that dated back to around 1600 BC. This was long before Plato's alleged writing of Atlantis, which would place its existence hundreds of years before his time. However, further excavations revealed that the island had not been destroyed by a natural disaster, such as an earthquake or a volcanic eruption, but rather abandoned by its inhabitants after a series of smaller earthquakes caused significant damage to the island. Many of the buildings were destroyed and much of the artwork was left damaged or unfinished, but there was no great catastrophe. Even so, this discovery led to speculation that Plato may have based his story of Atlantis on events that took place here. But there's one major obstacle: the timeline. According to Plato, Atlantis sank into the sea around 9000 BC, while the archaeological evidence suggests that it was around 1600 BC. That's a pretty big difference of almost 11,000 years. Not only that, but geological studies of the region show that the volcanic eruption that destroyed Thera, now known as Santorini, occurred around 1650 BC, thousands of years before Plato's alleged writing of Atlantis. So it seems unlikely that he would have based his story on events that happened so long before his own time. Then, what could have happened to cause the island to sink? Well, one theory is that the island did sink, but not all at once. Rising sea levels are a natural occurrence and can happen very quickly, especially when there is a rapid release of water from melting glaciers. In fact, the melting of the massive ice sheets that covered the northern hemisphere during the last Ice Age caused sea levels to rise by almost 400 feet. And if Atlantis was situated along the coast, it's possible that the rising water could have eventually swallowed the entire island. In fact, there is evidence that this may have occurred in the Doggerland region, which was once a vast plain that connected Great Britain to mainland Europe. As the ice melted, the sea level rose and eventually covered the land, turning it into a seabed. And if Atlantis was located here, it's possible that it, too, was lost beneath the waves. But how could a catastrophic event like this have gone unnoticed? Well, it's important to remember that the people living in this region would have been hunter-gatherers, with no written language or historical records. So even if they witnessed the sinking of Atlantis, there would be no way for us to know about it today. Plus, the Doggerland region is pretty far north and not a very hospitable place to live. So even if Atlantis was once located here, it's unlikely that anyone would have wanted to settle there in the first place. Ultimately, There is no hard evidence to prove or disprove the existence of Atlantis. Plato's writings are our only first-hand account of the city and its people. But we do know if they were based on actual events or if Atlantis was entirely a figment of his imagination. What do you think? Was Atlantis a real place that was lost beneath the ocean? Or was it just a story that Plato made up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos about archaeology and history. Thanks for watching. See you next time.